Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Nexgen Careers Xpert Talk. I'm Cecilia. I'm going to be your host today, and this talk is going to be all about the emerging field of UX writing. But first, before I introduce today's guest, I just want to give you guys a quick introduction to what Nexgen Careers is and what it is that we actually do. So Nexgen Careers is all about supporting individuals finding success in the future world of work, which we partly do through these expert talks that we run weekly on LinkedIn and free for everyone to join. And we dip into different fields that are most prominent in the future world of work. And we invite professionals to talk about their jobs and trends and future tendencies of what's going to happen in these fields, and just to get to know the field a little bit. And we also run on-site and online programs in skills development and also in career design. And also, if you are looking to explore careers in general, on our website, you can find free resources and dive into different fields such as sciences, computer and engineering, health and wellness, social impact, and many, many more. And these talks go on our website. So if you've missed something or you want to catch up on something that you've missed, you can find them there. And to today's guest. Today, we are speaking about UX writing, as I mentioned, and I have invited Barbara Kofler, who is currently based in Munich, but she's originally from Italy. And she is a polyglot, which means that she speaks many different languages, such as German, Italian, French, and many more. She started out in PR, but has then transitioned into the field of UX writing, mainly by upskilling on her own and just gaining all that knowledge on her own. Now she's working at XING, which is a career-oriented social networking site, kind of similar to LinkedIn, I would say. And she's also a mentor at the UX Writing Hub, which is a community where you can get mentorship, where you can take classes, and also apply for jobs. So a big welcome to Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I feel great. I've had a sunny day in Munich here, and yeah, I'm happy and prepared to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So I just thought we'd start from the top and talk a little bit about what UX writing actually is, because it is a new field. I mentioned it actually to my team the other day, and we were like, what is it exactly? Like, what can we compare it to? So, and also like what that means for you in your role that you do today. So maybe we can start with talking a little bit about UX writing and what that actually means.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say UX writing, and also that's one term or one description of the role. There are many different terms and many different names we are called, but it is essentially this conceptualization of everything that's written and spoken on a digital experience, and it works on what you can do with something, with a product, with a site, with an app, but also what you should do there. So it's kind of helping people navigate there. And for me, it consists of writing, also first thinking about the whole experience. That's why it's called user experience writing. So where do people start? Where do they continue? What's on their mind? And how can we get people to achieve what they want to achieve? With CTAs, menu, copy, form. So that's just, I'll just drop some terms. So that's what we write there, which is buttons, call to actions, and form copy, and sign up pages, and landing pages, and everything. Yeah, connected to the digital experience.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it sounds really interesting. So you sort of like navigate the user into making the right actions for like the strategy of the product. Can you give like an example, like
like an easy thing would be a product wants to have people sign up and or just give them their email address. So you have to think about, where do we meet people? So where do people interact with our product? And then how do we get them to sign up? And then essentially, like, the very last part of it would be to then design and write the text, the copy for the sign up page, where you then say, give us your name, and then give us your email address. And there are many different ways of doing that. You can be very stiff and in a corporate way. And in German, there's also the differentiation between the polite form of you and the less polite, the relaxed form of you.
Yeah.
So you also have these levels, and different companies want to apply different styles and tones. This is called tone of voice. And that's everything around this is also related to our tasks. So we first think about how we want to be perceived as a brand, as a company. Then we look at the experience, the flow, and look at where the people are and where we want them to get. Yeah. And then we write what we've figured out with a lot of many other people. So it's teamwork.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because I actually had a follow-up question on that. Like, because are you the only UX writer in the company, or do you have a team of UX writer, or who do you interact with when you do this job that you're doing?
So when it's about the tasks I'm doing on a daily basis, then I have a UX team. So there are UX designers and also visual designers and UX researchers. And then that's the team that essentially does then the design. But we start off with talking to the product manager, the product owner, who has a vision and has like goals they have to achieve. And we think about, I said it many times, about the flow, but we also interact with the marketing team, with the sales team, with user care a lot, because we want to know where people are and which problems they encounter, and also with the development team, of course. But you asked me if I'm alone on, like, if I'm all by myself. I'm yes and no. I have a team at the headquarters of my company, and we exchange, and it's with very fruitful discussions and very interesting stuff regarding all the new topics that arise within UX writing. But for my products, I'm the only one, and that's also it's nice, because of course I'm flexible and I can jump on everything that happens and that arises around these products.
Yeah, cool. And you work remotely at the moment, or do you have? Yeah.
So at the moment I work remotely. We do have offices also in Munich and in Hamburg, and also in Barcelona, actually.
Yeah.
But at the moment it's all remote for me.
Yeah, cool. So there have been a lot of different, or there are a lot of different roles within digital products and writing and content creation, and especially when it comes to like words and stuff. And one of the most like commonly known roles that you can find out there is copywriter. And a common misunderstanding that I've found when I've researched about UX writing is that copywriting and UX writing is like the same thing, but it's not. So I just thought, since I have you here, if we can like clear this out, and what's like, could you explain the difference between copywriting and UX writing? Is it the same thing? Is it not? What differentiates?
I think I can, but also I can't. So let me try. So I think there are many people out there who call themselves copywriters and do every task I would do myself. And then there are UX writers who take on also the copywriting tasks. So you can do both. So that's the first part of the answer. But also the copywriting is essentially the writing itself, and the goal is to make users feel something and encourage them to buy something and do something. And UX is the thought process that makes it effective. So it can go together, but it can also be like splitted in terms of copywriting could only be the article writing, blog writing for marketing, the upselling, the sales part, and not consider everything that is also developed. And that's like the main big difference is like 99% of the things I do is or are connected to the development, and I will then hand it off to the development team.
Okay. So copywriting is more sales and in general, while you work more on the product. Okay. I get it now. Awesome. And moving along. So like you've didn't really study UX writing because this is very new field. It's like sort of like, slid into it and studied. Maybe you can catch us up on what exactly you went to school for, but you've studied a lot of languages and other things. But that I guess have helped you onto this path. So what kind of like experiences from your background, from your school background, from, I don't know, has helped you to move into this field? Because there is not really a clear path yet. I think it might be emerging now to get into this field. But what kind of stuff have you benefited from your background to get into this field?
So I think, to make it short, it would be trying to understand people. And that's why I started off studying languages and European culture studies. And it was always on my mind. So with languages, of course, I also wanted to tell people something, but essentially I wanted to understand what they tell me or what they want. And I had a very strange situation. I was around 10 or 11, and I traveled to Rome with my parents, and so they speak German and Italian, and I was too young, so I didn't speak English yet. And we met a couple from Slovenia, which is like, it's our neighbor country.
Yeah.
And they had missed their train and they weren't able to figure out how they could go home. And that made me really sad, and I still remember it. And I think that was one of the reasons why I always wanted to understand people. And then, of course, during university, I did, for example, also translation, and I did other courses also in different languages, because I was just interested in also the structure and the syntax of the languages. But yeah, in like the baseline of it would be, I want to understand people, and that's exactly what people in our field at least should have on their minds. So it's always something about put yourself in your user's shoes and try to understand what's their point of view or what their needs are. And that's also why we work very closely together with UX research. So we do a lot of interviews, and we try to figure out exactly where people are, what they want, what their needs are, but also really far away from the product. What are their emotions when they do stuff or when they try to do stuff? And only at a later stage we bring in the product and then try to find out how our product would solve their problem or would help them with what they want to achieve.
I think that's really beautiful what you say about understanding people. And because it might not be the first thing that you think about, but it totally relates to, because what you do is user experience writing. It's the same with user experience design, user experience. It's all about the user and understanding people. So, and I actually was talking to a girl, I've been talking to various UX writers in the past couple of weeks, but this girl who worked in customer service since before, like that's what she was doing, but she was like, I want to do something else. I want to work with writing. And then she ended up in UX writing, and it totally makes sense. Because she's so used to putting herself in the user's shoes when she was working in customer service. So I think she made a transition within the same company, actually went from customer service to user experience writing. And it was a really cool transition. And now you are saying the same thing, that then it, for me, it
totally makes sense. And also when I started off, we didn't have any researchers yet on our team. So we tried to do all the research by ourselves. And sometimes we didn't have enough budget or time, so resources. And then I would just go to my colleagues from the user care department and ask them what users tell them on the phone or by email, and where they usually have problems. And also Jen Schaefer from Netflix had a talk about it, and also wrote blog articles about it, that they usually also meet with their user care team to talk about all the things, and really getting lists of everything that bothers people when using Netflix.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, everybody should do that, because of course, if you've got a company, you had the experience probably as well, that you do something, or you contact user care and you have a problem, and they're nice and they help you with everything, but the problem doesn't go away, or you encounter it like 2 months later, you're in the same situation, like, okay, I can open the email and I can again change it like they told me to, but many companies don't listen to what users tell them.
Which is so important, hey? Yeah. And we touched a little bit upon this, the next question before earlier, speaking a little about your education and what kind of stuff you studied. But I wanted to ask you, especially since UX writing is a pretty new field, and the it might not be implemented in the educational system yet. But I wanted to ask you, like, do you have to go to university to become a UX writer, or can you do it like on your own? Or if you have any recommendations of where to turn for that?
So there are many courses out there, and I think even one university course, but I don't think it's like studying UX writing, but it's also a like foundations of UX writing course, which lasts maybe 9 months, which is I wrote it down with, it's the University of Washington, and it's called the Foundation of UX Writing, and it's with 2 very known people from our industry, Joe Walensky and Tori Botnajerski. But there are many other very interesting courses out there. For example, the course where I'm a mentor myself, the UX Writing Academy from the UX Writing Hub, or also from the Content Design London, and let me see what I noted down, from the UX Writers Collective, and UX Writing with Kinneret Jifra. So there are a lot of courses, and if you type it in and just search for UX writing course, you will find it. And I think that nobody who is doing this job right now has done a degree program. Many are writers, many are marketing, or used to be marketing managers, many used to be copywriters, many used to be in user care, or did something completely different. So the thing is that I do think education is important, and most people I know have studied something, but it's not UX writing, or wasn't UX writing, and it doesn't have to be related, because the cool thing is that you can take everything you've learned there, and everything you learn on the streets and with your family and with every interaction you ever had, take that with you, and then just take that with you in your job role, and develop on that. And then of course it's really important, and later on maybe I can share some other tips I would give people who are new to this field, but it's just important to read a lot and educate yourself. As you said, that's a cool thing about this industry.
Yeah, for sure. And that you can actually do that, and the information is there, you just have to go fetch it. And I guess you being a part of the UX Writing Hub is a way, to give back into, to add on to that learning for other people. So which is the next thing I wanted to touch upon as well. If you wanted to mention something, please do before.
I just want to say, you said there's stuff out there and you can just grab it. Yeah, but you can also put things out there. You can also contribute a lot. That's really interesting, and I really like that about our community. So it's getting bigger and bigger. I think in some of the, like, let's say Facebook and LinkedIn groups and everything, there are probably more than 5,000 members, which is not that big if you think that it's a global industry and people all over the globe are working in UX writing. But you can really start off as a newbie and then still contribute or ask relevant questions, and people will reply to you. And yeah, I started as a mentor on the UX Writing Hub in March 2021, and I really like to be able to contribute in this way, and also see and also read other opinions and other ideas. So
yeah, that's really cool. So guys, if you want, I'll link the UX Writing Hub as well below, to go, so you can go check that out and see all the cool stuff that they are doing. So I can't talk to you about UX writing without like talking a little bit about the future, because it is a fast moving field, and just like what's the future looking like in this field? Like, what should we be aware of, for instance, students or recent graduates or people, I don't know, just looking to move into the field in the coming years?
I think that many companies at the moment focus on an English first approach, especially as most of their workforce is international, and it's easier to focus on also English UX writing, as you collaborate in English, and then you do all of the thinking in English, and then you do the mocks and the draft copy maybe in English, and then it's easy to say English first. And I see many job openings asking for English native level. But first of all, I also read and hear from a lot of people that they applied to jobs for native level and they still got it. So that's one, let's say, reliever. But also in the future, as many more people will become UX writers, then there will just be more people in the field and companies can hire them. And then I think for almost every language, you will have UX writers. And then it's also easier for companies in every country and with every language or target group with different languages to hire people. So that will be something really interesting. And also everything that goes along those lines with translation. So at the moment, there are a lot of people like UX writer plus translation manager, and they have like they write the main copy and then it gets translated to, I don't know, 5 or 6 other markets for that product. And maybe also these translators will like learn new skills and just also become UX writers, and then maybe call themselves UX writers and translators. Or it will just develop to people or companies hiring more and more UX writers for every specific language. Yeah. And one other thing is that I have the feeling that there are always new topics arising. And I think the more people join our profession, the more people also want to become experts in a specific field. So there will be expertise in, at the moment, it's very interesting to look into accessibility, or just everything that relates to that's also accessibility, but to plain language and to clear writing. And then I think 2 years ago, it was everything about the tone of voice. So what do brands want to sound like? And I think being an expert, or just not being an expert for the sake of it, but trying to find your special field where you feel comfortable and where you want to research more and to find out more, and maybe even do your own surveys and ask people how they feel. I have a friend who talks about neurodivergency, and she did a survey and she interviewed people, and that became a big topic for our industry, because as I said, if you want to contribute, you can contribute and you can find new things. And I think the last thing I want to mention is we are talking about written text mostly, or written communication. But I think the spoken communication will be a big topic in the next 10 years. And also everything that is automated and connected to AI. So, of course, thinking about the voice assistants, and also maybe in cars and products, which will at one point just talk to us instead of showing us text we have to read.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet that there's going to be a lot of job opportunities within the voice like the voice UX as well. Hey.
Yes.
It was actually on like one of the top lists from the World Economic Forum of emerging jobs is UX voice designer,
And
I
also
guess, or
then
yeah.
watch out for different terms then again, because then maybe it's not called UX writing anymore. Maybe it's then voice content specialist or something. So it is hard to find exactly the name of the job you're searching for. Or
Excuse me. And I think that's a really good point in this day and age, and also in the future of work. Like, you don't necessarily have a job title. You won't necessarily know exactly what that job title is for the job that you want. So it's really interesting that you mentioned that. You might need to make it up, you know? As you said, or I mentioned before in the introduction, like you started in PR and then all of a sudden there's this thing called UX writing. It's like, okay, what's this? Like, I want to explore it. So I think that's a really, really good point. But also something that I wanted to mention. Yeah, continue, please.
No, just something with the names and what we are called. I think there are many people who are very concerned with what we're called, and they have good reasons. I'm not concerned because I found my industry, let's say. But it's good, even though I don't need one name that connects me to other people, it's good to have a name for the industry, because you have to have an overarching topic or a name for it. For people to join, and also for people to become experts and become maybe leaders, or just become community members who will contribute and stuff. So it's not about the name for the profession, but the name for a belonging.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. And another thing that you mentioned about future trends is that the thing about the languages, which I think which makes me very optimistic about the field. That you hopefully not necessarily need to be like a native English speaker to work in the field moving forward, and that it will be able to develop so that you can work in whatever language that you work best in, I guess. So that's very positive.
And also the remote setup, of course, helps with that.
Yeah, exactly. Great. We will move on to like the last little bit of this interview, where with 3 questions that we ask all the guests that come on these talks. So 3 quick questions with 3 quick answers, and the quick answers might be a little bit tricky sometimes, but we'll try to make it work. So the first one is, what good in the world does your job do?
UX writing helps people achieve what they want to achieve without tricking them.
What part of your job makes you want to wake up in the morning?
I can contribute to almost any topic in my company, and people will always ask for my opinion, because language is the most important way of communicating in this world.
Yeah, cool. And what advice would you give to someone looking to start exploring the field today?
That's hard in short, but
okay, you can elaborate a little bit more, because that's the juicy part. We want that. Yeah.
But I've thought about 3 things. First thing is, if you're really, really new, just start reading. Type it into your browser, UX writing, and then open like 3 articles and read, and what you find interesting, read on, click links and read. The second thing, like if you've read a bit and you said, yeah, okay, that's something I'm interested in, just take a course. There are a lot of free courses out there, a lot of short courses out there, and you can just see what else we've got.
Yeah.
And the third thing would also be go to events and connect to people, and also on social platforms, just reach out, also share your story, because I have the feeling our community is a rather small one, but a very nice and nice one, I would say. And people are always welcoming, and if you have questions or share your story, then mostly people will reply and talk to you. So reading, take a course, and reach out to people.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those advice, and thank you for this interview. Barbara, it's been great having you. We are going to pause the recording here. The rest of us can stay on for a Q&A. But thank you so much. And yeah, everybody who's watching this, thank you for watching it this far. And make sure you go to our website to check out different interviews, and also make sure you sign up to our newsletter to find out more about what events are up and coming, and what other bits and pieces we're working on at Nexgen Careers. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.